having those thoughts.
Shit. How did that happen? I have no clue. That shouldn't happen. That is very odd. Spotify shouldn't cut in on that. Holy cow. That was very odd. Spotify, it can't come in on top of the camera. But somehow it did it. That was the first. So Spotify cut in on top of the camera. Copyright. Yeah, copyright my butt. It's more like supernatural copyright. It didn't make any sense. See, Spotify is not supposed to cut in on top of the camera. It doesn't have the ability to do that. That way when you start filming, Spotify cuts out. But all of a sudden I was listening to Willie Nelson and Spotify was still going on. So I had to turn everything off so the copyright issue won't come up. And boom, it just came right up. That's the first time, a very first. I'm right near West 7th right now. I'm passing the Modern Art Museum to the left. I just stopped at OMG Tacos right next to some weird club right there off of West 7th called Amperseed or Amperseed or Amper. I put it in one of the other posts. It was like Amperseed or Amper something, Ampersteed, but it's like full of a lot of fog and stuff. So I got it on a previous post. This is very interesting. West 7th is my old hangout spot. I used to hang out here all the time when I was younger. I lived in the old apartments off of Darnell Street, which was the apartments that they housed World War II soldiers, but they had been there for a long time, even in the 90s. They tore them down to create the Modern Art Museum, and I lived in those apartments right off Darnell for a couple of years, and it was a hangout spot, but none of this stuff was here. All this was run down, little small dives. I think they had something similar to the Velvet Taco, but it was called something different. They had another place right down the area that was like Al's Bar, but it was a place, it wasn't Al's Bar, but it was another name, like Bob's Bar, or some weird name. It was it's kind of based on that old song, Allison's Restaurant, which is very hard to play on the guitar. But it was a bar that had in the back of the bar was a volleyball, sand or beach volleyball. They had a beach volleyball area on the back side of the bar, so you could go out there and play volleyball. And those were the days, man. They didn't have like this fancy apartment complex here. We had like rundown old barrack apartments that like soldiers lived in World War II. They were really old wood floors. You could crawl underneath them. They had crawl space underneath the apartments and crawl into your neighbor's apartment. People didn't realize that. Here's the Montgomery right here. But Fort Worth has changed so much. It's amazing. And we're about to pass Shakespeare in the Park coming up here, right up this way. I'm doing a drop right now. And then we'll hit the West 7th Bridge, where we filmed The Way of Man, Rob Vasquez and I, for the 4 short films I'm making right now. Which the first one is Walk in Christ, is basically a companion piece, which is an extension of Recirculation Road, but Recirculation Road was more around like the airport in Dallas area. Walk in Christ is more of the Fort Worth area. But the first one is, of course, From Now Until Morning. That's the first short film. And then it goes into The Way of Man, which was shot right here on this bridge right here. And during the morning time, when the lights just turn off. That was The Way of Man. The next one will be that side. And then the last one, which will be the 4th one, is called Go, which I'll shoot this summer or the next summer. If Rob comes back on, I'll use Rob. Glenn had a drop. So I've got a backup actor. I'm not going to mention any names who it is. But we'll be shooting that and then about a week from now. So this is kind of a documentary piece about Fort Worth, about Dallas, and about areas extending from Recirculation Road, which Recirculation Road is basically a documentary about rideshare. And Walk in Christ is kind of the faith side of the documentary of rideshare and of just traveling around and walking in Christ, and I guess doing rideshare for for money, and then meeting people and talking and communication. And mostly it's a lot of just B-roll. There's a lot of B-roll. I'm kind of getting Ken Burns a little bit on it. I know Ken Burns doesn't talk a whole lot, but he puts in a lot of stuff. So I haven't really said a whole lot. Maybe like 100 or 200 posts without even really saying anything. So this is kind of an explanation of Walk in Christ, and I'll be posting it.